Have you ever wondered if everything we call progress is actually a step backward? It's a wild thought, but today we're going to break down a really powerful speech that makes exactly that argument. It's an unsettling paradox, and it all centers on one village where supposed progress has led to an almost total collapse. So the whole thing starts with a really stark look at the situation on the ground right now. It paints this picture of a community that's not just struggling a little bit, it's in a deep, deep crisis on multiple fronts.
And the diagnosis really hinges on this one staggering number, 99%. This isn't just a few families having a tough time. We're talking about a near total failure of the entire community. So, what does a failure that big actually look like?
Well, it's broken down into this three-part crisis. First, there's health. Sickness is found in over 90% of homes. Then you have the social breakdown. Severe disputes are tearing most families apart from the inside. And finally, the financial side. Over 99% of the land has been mortgaged to banks. I mean, it's a complete collapse on every single level.
So, you gotta ask, how is that even possible? How can an entire community fall apart so completely? Well, the central argument here is that this is absolutely not a coincidence. It's a symptom of something way, way bigger.
And think about it, right? If just one or two families were struggling, you might chalk it up to bad luck or poor decisions. But a 99% failure rate, that's not bad luck. That points to a huge systemic problem, some kind of powerful single root cause that's driving the whole community off a cliff. And that, of course, is the million-dollar question. What is this powerful underlying cause that's brought an entire village to its knees? To find the answer, the speaker says we can't look at the present. We have to look to the past. To build this case, the speaker lays out this really dramatic comparison, like a tale of two different eras for the very same village. One they call the era of poverty, and the other, our current era, which they call progress. And this is really the core evidence. So back in the past, in the era they literally called poverty, homes were apparently filled with gold and silver. The food was local, pure, and plentiful. And society was safe, no real addiction or crime. Now, let's contrast that with today, the era of progress. The land is mortgaged, the food is packaged, and addiction and crime are at an all-time high. The difference is just jarring. This side-by-side comparison leads us straight into the heart of the argument. It's this really challenging, deeply counterintuitive idea, the paradox of progress. So let's get this straight. The era they called poverty was actually a time defined by real wealth, safety, and self-sufficiency. The label itself feels like a complete mismatch with reality. And on the flip side, the era we call progress is defined by debt, sickness, and decay. It really makes you wonder if the very words we use are designed to blind us to what's actually going on. Now, there are no easy answers here. The speech deliberately doesn't offer a simple solution. Instead, it ends by leaving us with a profound and pretty challenging question. And here it is. We really have to ask ourselves, if our path of progress leads to more debt, more sickness, and more social decay, what are we actually progressing towards? This question is so much bigger than just one village. It forces all of us to step back and reconsider what a better future really is. And that's the thought we're going to leave you with.